Welcome to Ramcast, a Christian podcast designed to encourage believers in their walk with God and to lead the unsaved to Jesus Christ. Hello and welcome to Ramcast, a Bible podcast. Today, we're going to be looking at a couple verses in Hebrews chapter 12. Now, the point of this podcast is about looking to Jesus. So listen closely. Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us also lay aside every weight and sin which clings so closely, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking to Jesus, the founder and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is seated at the right hand of the throne of God, looking to Jesus. So, to be completely honest with this podcast, I ran out of ideas. You know, a lot of times I have this passionate idea, really need to share this. That's kind of one of the reasons I created the podcast, was to create a platform where I could share these things that God was convicting me in His Word through devotional resources, and I wanted to share that with you guys. But this is the second episode, and I already ran out of ideas. So I was reading a devotions by Steve Pettit called Run the Race, and it was talking about looking to Jesus. It was also talking about these two verses which I just read. So it had been talking about running the race of the Christian life and how to run that successfully by faith. But in this next part, it was talking about looking to Jesus. It was talking about how, as a runner, you need an inspiration. You need a reason to run. Maybe it's to win a trophy, to get in better shape. There's an inspiration. And as a Christian, as we run this Christian race, Jesus is our inspiration. What should not be our inspiration is success. I have 5 million followers on this podcast. I have 20,000 subscribers on YouTube. This is financially profitable. People are congratulating me. People are complimenting me. I'm doing good works. Our inspiration should be Jesus. We're doing this for Jesus. We're doing this for Jesus who died for our sins. It said, looking to Jesus, the founder and perfecter of our faith, because you have to believe by faith, not by sight, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is seated at the right hand of the throne of God. That's the reason. That's the mission. It's not all about how I feel, which, to be honest, I've struggled with. When you have this passion, sometimes there's this emotional, let's go do this. And to be honest, I was lacking that. I was, I want to do this, but, I felt like I needed a passion. But it's not all about your feelings. It's about looking to Jesus, the founder and perfecter of our faith, focusing on him in every aspect of life. What would Jesus do in this scenario? What did Jesus say was the most Christ-like way to respond in this circumstance? Looking to Jesus, letting that be our motivation. And in this day and age, there are 1,000,001 distractions. Social media, just your phone in general, your job, TV, commercials, everywhere. People trying to push in your face movements. You need to do this. No, you need to do this. There's just so much noise that it's very easy for us to get distracted and take our eyes off Jesus. I'm guilty of that all the time. That's why Jesus died on the cross, to pay for my and everybody's sin. But we need to choose to trust in him by faith and not by sight, to receive that forgiveness and spend eternity with him in heaven. Because Jesus was perfect. And then he died. He paid for our sin. His blood was shed. That was prophesied years before. And then he conquered death by rising from the dead 3 days later. That's our motivation. Not, well, I feel this tug, and it's not necessarily bad to have a passion, an emotion. That's a good thing. But if you're just relying only on feelings, it's not a good thing. And to be honest, I'm still working with that in my life, to not focus on how I feel, but to focus on who Jesus is. Again, I'll read these 2 verses. Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us also lay aside every weight and sin which clings so closely, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking to Jesus, the founder and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is seated at the right hand of the throne of God. I hope this podcast was an encouragement to you. If so, please let me know in the comments below or the reply section or whatever. And please share this with others. I hope this was a blessing to you. Again, we are a Christian podcast, and we want to do all of this to the glory of God. And you all have a great day. Thanks for listening. We hope this podcast was a blessing to you. If so, please leave a comment down below. To support us, please subscribe or follow, depending on what platform you're listening to us on.